Is Daniel a predator? This is a dramatized reconstruction based on a real legal advice forum discussion. Names and locations have been altered for privacy, but the legal questions, psychological dynamics, and timeline are drawn directly from documented public cases and professional legal analysis. In February of 2020, buried among hundreds of routine posts asking about traffic tickets, landlord disputes, and workplace complaints, a short and unsettling question appeared on an American legal advice forum. The post was calm, carefully written, and notably unemotional, which immediately set it apart from most of the content surrounding it. The author did not express fear, anger, or confusion. She did not ask for comfort. She did not describe trauma. Instead, she laid out a sequence of facts and asked a single, precise question about legality. She identified herself only as a 22-year-old woman living in Columbus, Ohio. She explained that she was currently in a consensual romantic relationship and wanted to know whether that relationship could be considered criminal, even though no illegal acts had occurred while she was a minor. She emphasized this point more than once. Nothing sexual had happened when she was under 18. There had been no touching, no explicit messages, no secret meetings, no physical contact of any kind. She made that clear before revealing the detail that made readers stop scrolling. The person she was dating was her former stepfather. For clarity, we will refer to her as Emily Carter. Emily was 8 years old in 2006 when her mother remarried. Her biological father had left years earlier and was largely absent from her life. Her mother's new husband was Daniel Carter, a quiet, soft-spoken accountant in his mid-30s who had never had children of his own. According to Emily, Daniel did not enter the household as a strict authority figure or disciplinarian. He was introduced simply as Mom's husband, not as a replacement father, and at first he kept a noticeable emotional distance. But blended families rarely remain static. Over time, routines formed, responsibilities shifted, and roles naturally filled themselves in. Daniel moved into the family home shortly after the wedding. He began helping with practical matters. When Emily's mother worked late, Daniel drove Emily to school. When school projects were due, Daniel sat at the kitchen table and helped her organize her work. When parent-teacher meetings conflicted with her mother's schedule, Daniel attended instead. These actions, taken individually, appeared normal, even admirable. To teachers and neighbors, Daniel seemed responsible, calm, and dependable. As years passed, Daniel became a constant presence in Emily's daily life. He enforced household rules quietly and without aggression. He did not yell. He did not threaten punishment. He spoke calmly, explained expectations, and often acted as a mediator between Emily and her mother when conflicts arose. From the outside, there were no obvious warning signs, no complaints from school, no concerning behavior reported by family members. No dramatic changes in Emily's behavior. If anything, people described Daniel as the adult who brought stability into the household. Emily's childhood appeared uneventful, safe, and ordinary. Things began to shift subtly during Emily's early teenage years. As she entered adolescence, her relationship with her mother became strained, marked by frequent arguments over independence, rules, and identity. Emily felt misunderstood and overly controlled. Her mother interpreted Emily's behavior as defiant and disrespectful. Daniel increasingly positioned himself between them, not openly undermining her mother's authority, but offering Emily emotional support afterward. When Emily felt unfairly punished, Daniel listened. When she felt criticized, Daniel reassured her. He validated her feelings without directly contradicting her mother. Over time, he became the adult Emily trusted most, the one she confided in first, the one whose opinion mattered more than anyone else's, the one who seemed to understand her when no one else did. Emily later emphasized that there was no inappropriate touching, no sexual comments, and no explicit behavior during this period. Daniel never crossed a physical boundary. He never suggested a romantic relationship. He never spoke about sex. This detail would later become central to Emily's defense of the relationship. But while no physical boundary was crossed, something else was happening quietly in the background. Daniel was becoming the emotional center of Emily's world. He was the person she turned to for reassurance, approval, and guidance, the person whose praise felt deeply meaningful, the person whose disappointment felt devastating. Psychologists refer to this dynamic as emotional dependency or emotional centralization. It is difficult to identify because, on the surface, it often looks like patience, mentorship, and support. There are no obvious moments that trigger alarm, no single incident that feels wrong. Instead, influence accumulates slowly over years. Emily would later insist repeatedly that she could not point to any moment she would classify as abuse. There were no incidents that set off alarms at the time. Daniel never pressured her. He never suggested a future together. But he also never stepped back. As Emily matured, the emotional closeness remained constant. The same attention, the same availability, the same sense that Daniel was always there, always listening, always emotionally present. To some observers, that looked like restraint. To others, it would later look like waiting. In late 2017, when Emily was 19 years old, her mother died suddenly after a brief illness. The loss devastated the household. Grief has a way of collapsing emotional distance and dissolving boundaries that once felt stable and clear. Daniel and Emily were suddenly alone in the same house, connected by the same absence and the same loss. They shared memories of Emily's mother. They talked late into the night. They cried together. They sat in silence together. What began as mutual support slowly deepened into something heavier and more emotionally charged. Emily described feeling that Daniel was the only person who truly understood what she was going through, because he had lost the same person in the same way. Months passed. Emily struggled with anxiety and uncertainty about her future. Daniel remained a constant presence. He checked in daily. He reassured her. He reminded her that she was not alone. Eventually, Emily moved out of the house, hoping that independence would help her regain emotional balance and process her grief. But physical distance did not weaken the connection. They texted every day, long messages, late-night conversations, emotional confessions about loneliness, fear, and feeling unanchored in the world. Over time, the conversations grew deeper, more personal, and more emotionally intense. At some point, a line shifted. Not physically at first, but emotionally. Feelings were acknowledged that had never been named before. Emily was 20 years old, legally an adult. Daniel insisted that nothing could happen until everything was fully legal and appropriate. By early 2019, the relationship became openly romantic, though still hidden from most people. Emily believed Daniel had waited out of respect for the law. She believed the timing proved his intentions were honorable. That belief collapsed when the family found out. Relatives reacted with immediate outrage. Accusations came quickly and without restraint. Daniel was called a predator. He was accused of grooming Emily for years. Some threatened to contact law enforcement. Others threatened to expose the relationship publicly. Emily was told that she had been manipulated, even if she did not see it that way. Daniel defended himself with the same argument repeatedly. Nothing illegal had happened while Emily was a minor. He had waited. Emily did not go online seeking moral validation. She did not ask if the relationship was ethical or appropriate. She asked a narrower, colder question. Could Daniel be charged for something that had never been reported, never documented, and never physically happened while she was under 18? Could the past retroactively transform their present into a crime? Lawyers responded cautiously. They asked about timelines, guardianship, authority, and dependency. They explained that while the relationship itself was not automatically illegal, parental roles carry legal and psychological weight. Emotional grooming is real, even when it leaves no physical evidence. And waiting until someone turns 18 does not erase years of influence. There were no charges, no investigation, no court case. But the question remained. If someone waits until the law allows it, after years of emotional closeness and influence, does that make it right? Or does it only make it legal? It's up to you. Is Daniel a predator or a man wrongly accused? Comment below and let us know what you believe.